Hi, Tricia here at Clip Scrap with a cute little project that I wanted to show you, and I figured it'd just be easier to have a video rather than do the step outs with photos. And it's actually made from a little coin envelope, and it's pretty cute. I haven't really finished it with decorative elements quite yet, but I do have some paper on it, and inside are the little text weight pages. And then because I'm using the envelope, I do have the opportunity to add these little pocket inserts on the right and left outside covers of the envelope. And it's a combination of old and new techniques, and then I've added a ribbon closure, and it's just as cute as can be. I thought it'd be cute for like little holiday photos or memories or whatever, or maybe even just a little notebook to keep in your purse. Okay, we're going to start with an envelope, and this one measures 3 by 4.5. Now, what I've learned though is it's just a slightly larger than 3 by 4.5 in length, or by 4.5 inches in length. So I'm able to put this in my trimmer at exactly 4.5 and basically slice off the bottom of the envelope. That's what creates the pocket, or two pockets, one here with the flap and then one on the other end. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is fold the envelope in half, but not quite. So I'm going to bring the bottom edge of the envelope so that it's basically even with the lip of the inside of the envelope rather than up to the crease. And that allows that flap to wrap around the front cover after the pages have been sewn in. It's just something I figured out by making my little prototype. And then I'll just burnish that with a bone folder, and my little book is already starting to take shape. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be doing is just folding the inside pages in half, and what's nice is that they're 4 inches wide, so I was able to get 3 out of a strip of paper here, 12 by 12 paper. And this is our text weight champagne paper from the Shades of Winter collection, and since it is text weight, it just folds easily, and this will be a nice set of signature pages for the inside of the book. These measure 2 7/8 by 4, and I'm folding them in half. This will be the inside. When I'll fold it, I'll just give them all a crease with my bone folder and then nest them together. So there we go. To make the piercing nice and easy, I've got my handy stitching cradle, and you can get these at clubscrap.com when they're available. I make them myself, so I make them in batches, and hopefully they are available currently in the shopping carts. All right, now, so I'm placing the nested inside pages and the envelope that I folded into the stitching cradle, and I've also made a template. And it's basically the template matches the height of the pages at 2 7/8 inches, and I used my grid ruler to measure down 3/8 inch from the top and bottom edges. So I'll line up the template into the crease of my inside pages, and then I'll take a piercing tool and just pierce into right along the line that I've drawn on the template, and it went right through the crease of the pages, which is really important, and also the exact fold line on the envelope itself. Here's a needle that I've added white wax linen thread. This is just the super basic pamphlet stitch. So I'll go through from the inside to the outside, back to the inside again with the wax linen thread. I have about 10 inches of thread on here. I don't know that you need that quite that much, but better to have too much than not enough. And then I will do a basic knot. Now, when you're working with wax linen thread, you always like to have that third hand to hold things down when you're tying a knot. But since it's the wax linen, I can just take my fingernail and actually force a little crease into the thread, and that holds it in place while I tie my double knot. Okay, that wasn't too hard, was it? And then trim the thread tails. If you want to have like little expressions inside the book, I'd recommend that you stamp the pages of the book before sewing them into the envelope. So it's already starting to take shape, and you can see how the cover will work. For the flap here, it is a gummed flap. Some coin envelopes do not have gum on the flap. The fact that this one did, it just bothered me a little bit, so I made a little flap cover. And I used a folded piece of paper. This one is 3 inches tall, which is exactly the height of the longest portion of the flap. And it's 2 3/8 inches wide, which is just slightly wider when folded, slightly wider than the flap. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of line this up so that the flap is right in the crease. My flap cover is right in the crease of this. And then I'll open it. I'll take my ATG, just make sure I have a nice thorough coverage here. And you can use bookbinding glue for this or whatever your favorite adhesive is, as long as it's nice and strong. Then I open it and then add my adhesive to the other side of the flap. Okay, so now I've covered the gummed area of the flap, which is kind of nice. To make it look more like a flap, I'll use the 1/2 inch setting on my corner rounder to round the outside corners. We've done this trick before in a few other projects, and I just like the way it looks. Okay, now it's just a matter of cosmetics and finishing touches. I have cut 2 little inserts for the pockets. These measure 2 1/8 by 2 3/4, I believe. Before I put this page in here, I think I'm going to do one other thing with my envelope punch board. The width of this here is 3 inches. If I slide this in at 1 1/2, that's half of 3 inches, and give it a punch, now I have a nice little thumb hole to accommodate my pocket insert. You can go ahead and decorate this however you like. One of the things that's sort of a necessity is a cover for the back outside, and the reason we want to cover this is because that's how we're going to encase our ribbon closure. So I've trimmed an 18-inch piece of ribbon, and then I'm going to just make sure I have a nice thorough application of adhesive on my outside back cover. And maybe I'll just put some adhesive here, find the center of my ribbon, and just center that onto the outside of the envelope. And here I'm using paper from the Club Scrap Shades of Winter collection. This is actually the Club Stamp print. So pretty. Okay, and now I have a closure to hold everything together with the ribbon. Now if you want to add a little bit of a cover for this area, now note that it has the lip, and I really don't want to cover that. So the solution is to add another punch to correspond on the center of this cover. What I've done is used the 0 center of my ruler to find the center of the inside back cover, which measures, or the inside cover measures 2 by 2 3/4. I'll just slide that in at the center here. Give that a punch. Okay, so perfect. All I need to do now is add my adhesive. You can use score tape too, is another good idea for this if you don't have an ATG, but one thing I've noticed with score tape is that it just is much more time consuming to use. Okay, so now I have my stitch pages on the inside, 2 pocket inserts, a covered envelope flap, and it's all ready for whatever you want to put inside. Make a really cute gift as well. And hey, if you like this project, don't forget to hit subscribe in the lower left corner of the screen. Thanks for joining me today.